right, Lake Norman Sprint Triathlon 2023. Let's go. Ended up being a perfect race day. It was cloudy, a little bit humid, but it was like 65 degrees all day long. Drove the 45 minutes to get out there and got there around 7 a.m. Had to go pick up my race packet, which wasn't a big deal at all doing the day of. And then went and got my bike set up and headed down to the beach to get my wetsuit on and get swimming. The predicted water temp was 71 degrees. It felt much colder. It felt probably closer to 62 or 64 degrees. I initially was contemplating wearing a wetsuit or not, and I'm really glad that I did, because as short of a swim as it was and kind of as ridiculous as it may seem to wear a wetsuit, it was freezing. It was really cold water, so I'm very happy that I wore the wetsuit. I definitely think that it ended up helping me in the long run. Swim time was 9 minutes and 57 seconds, which is technically slower than last year, but last year was not a full 750 meter swim. It was much shorter. All the athletes kind of complained about that. Came out, my transitions were very rocky. I wasn't super happy with them. They definitely could have been faster. Looking at the other transition times in my age group, they actually compared pretty quick compared to the other ladies. So I'm not overly upset with them. I just know that they can be smoother. It was my first race, and truthfully, I really haven't practiced transitions, so not overly upset with how they happened, but they could be better. Got out onto the bike. I'm familiar with the course from last year. They hadn't changed. Rolling hills. There's one small, steep, like 5 to 6% grade climb for about a half mile. Nothing that you can't handle compared to Ironman 70.3 Virginia. Felt really strong. Probably could have ended up pushing myself a little bit harder, which I hate walking away from a race thinking that. Felt like I held my position pretty well. I talked in the past about it gets to be really frustrating when you're a fast swimmer, because you come out of the water in first or second place and you pretty quickly drop your placement whenever you're on the bike and you're not a very strong biker. Something that I've worked really hard on this off season, and I think that it showed on this bike, knowing that I can push myself harder, and hopefully will show in the half Ironman, still knowing that I have a lot of work to do on the bike, but we'll get there eventually. Came into T2 pretty fast. Elise! The dismount line is super small, and last year I actually missed it. This year I had it in the back of my head to slow down because you're coming down a downhill when you come in, and I nearly missed it yet again. T2 was relatively smooth. Actually, I ended up throwing my helmet by accident, which didn't mean to do. It sort of popped off my head and I had to kick it back into my area. It didn't hit anybody. Nobody else was around me.
Got it, Abby!
Could have been smoother. My transitions, like I said, just need a little bit of work, but that's okay. We'll get there eventually. Went out on the run. Felt really strong. It's a few uphills going out and then straight downhill for the last half mile. So knowing that, I pushed myself pretty hard on the uphills and just tried to keep a really consistent pace for the first mile, and then slowly started to speed it up towards the end. Came into the finish. It's on sand, so you kind of lose all of your momentum when you go to the finish line, which is fine. Finished, felt pretty good at the finish.
Let's go, Annalise!
From Huntersville. Annalise Things from Charlotte.
Really had no idea where I had placed, with this being my first race in the 25 to 29 age category. It was really difficult to judge where I had been. There were a few girls that looked around my age who had passed me on the bike, but then I passed some people on the run that looked around my age. I really had no idea. We couldn't load the race results on our phone because the Wi-Fi out there was pretty horrible. Kind of just sat around and waiting. I was debating even waiting for awards or not. We ended up sticking around for awards, and I'm glad we did. They start listing off the awards from youngest to oldest. They get to my age category. I had asked Jen to just start filming just in case. Was sort of expecting third place. Top 5 is what I was hoping for, but kind of was expecting third place, maybe second. So they call a third place.
Moving on to female 25 to 29 podium. Female 25 to 29. Third place from Rock Hill, Rebecca Pyle.
It wasn't my name. They call second place.
Second place from Asheville, Megan Cavaganini. I jacked that name up 3 times tonight. Today.
It wasn't my name. My face kind of drops, and I just tried to keep a happy attitude because in all reality, I knew that I was faster than last year, so it really didn't matter where I placed. And it's my first race in this age category, so it really does not matter. But it's always nice to hear your name get called in the top 3. And then they announced first place, and it was me.
Your winner, female 25 to 29, Annalise Days.
So it was really exciting. The girl who actually got second place, the only thing that set us apart was I was 3 minutes faster in the swim, but she was right on my tail for the bike and the run.
There's always a couple points that are just stuck in that.
Not expecting that. So I have a lot of work to do if I want to maintain my position. I've said it before, and I'm going to keep repeating it this season, is that where I'm at when I'm 25 is not where I hope to be when I'm 28 and 29. So I'm setting my expectations low going into the season. It's okay placement-wise if I'm not getting in the top 10. As long as my times are faster than last year, I'm making significant improvements. And that's the only goal. My huge goal going into the season is I just want to be faster than I was last year. And I think that so far I'm doing that. This was a really good race to sort of compare to last year. I think that it shows that the work I put in the off season is paying off. Overall, it was a fantastic race day. I couldn't have asked for a more incredible day. I'm very grateful for the support that I had there, and I'm looking forward to what the rest of the season holds.
Number 1 in your age group, how does it feel?
Yeah. Weird. Didn't think starting out 25 to 29 would get first, but it's kind of a nice way to start it out. I kind of thought after they said, like, I was expecting third, maybe, so when they didn't call my name for third, I was like, okay, well, we can go home and get some Starbucks now.
All the good stuff. Sadie Snugs.
Oh, Sadie Snug.